the Republican Party champions itself as pro-life and pro-family. They claim to cherish the sanctity of life and the importance of strong families. Yet a closer look at their policies reveals a stark contradiction. While vehemently opposing abortion, many Republicans simultaneously slash funding for education and social programs crucial for children's well-being. These cuts directly impact vulnerable children, pushing them further into poverty and hardship. How can one claim to protect children while actively undermining their chance at a healthy and fulfilling life? This hypocrisy exposes a disturbing truth. The pro-life stance often ends at birth. The GOP's actions speak louder than words. Their relentless attacks on public education, healthcare, and social safety nets paint a clear picture. They are not pro-child, they are pro-control. Their agenda seeks to regulate women's bodies while neglecting the very children they claim to champion. This is not about protecting life, it's about wielding power.
The assault on abortion rights will have dire consequences, particularly for the already overburdened foster care system. With fewer options available, countless unwanted children will be thrust into a system ill-equipped to handle them. Imagine a system already bursting at the seams, now forced to accommodate a tidal wave of new arrivals.
This influx will overwhelm foster homes and exacerbate the existing problems: underfunding, lack of resources, and a shortage of qualified caregivers. Children will languish in overcrowded facilities, starved for individual attention and affection. Their emotional, physical, and developmental needs will go unmet, leaving lasting scars. The anti-abortion movement conveniently ignores this inconvenient truth. They celebrate the miracle of life, but wash their hands of the responsibility that comes after. These children deserve more than a life of neglect and uncertainty. They deserve loving homes, quality education, and a fair chance at a bright future.
The erosion of child labor laws is a chilling consequence of the anti-abortion agenda. As more children enter the system, certain groups see an opportunity, a vast, untapped pool of cheap labor. They argue that allowing younger children to work instills discipline and teaches valuable skills, but let's call this what it is: exploitation.
Children belong in classrooms, not coal mines. They belong on playgrounds, not factory floors. Subjecting them to grueling work robs them of their education, their health, and their childhood. It traps them in a cycle of poverty and denies them the opportunity to reach their full potential. The push to weaken child labor laws is not about empowering children, it's about empowering corporations. It's about sacrificing the well-being of the most vulnerable for the sake of profit margins. This is not a solution to labor shortages, it's a regression to a darker time in human history.
Project 2025, a conservative initiative, lays bare the chilling reality of this agenda. This meticulously crafted plan aims to dismantle government regulations, including those protecting children. Lowering the age requirement for hazardous work is a key component of their vision. This isn't just about teenagers bagging groceries, it's about exposing children to dangerous machinery, toxic chemicals, and backbreaking labor.
This is about normalizing the exploitation of minors for the benefit of corporate interests. This is not a plan for a brighter future, it's a blueprint for a dystopian nightmare. Project 2025 reveals the true face of this movement, one that prioritizes profit over people, greed over compassion, and control over freedom. This is not about family values, it's about consolidating power and dismantling the very institutions designed to protect the vulnerable.
Children with special needs face even greater risks in this climate. These vulnerable children often require specialized care and support, resources already stretched thin.
As the system buckles under the weight of more children, those with disabilities will inevitably be overlooked and underserved. Imagine a child with autism, unable to communicate their needs, lost in the chaos of an overcrowded facility.
Imagine a child with Down syndrome, denied access to crucial therapies due to budget cuts. These are not hypothetical scenarios. They are the inevitable consequences of this heartless agenda.
The anti-abortion movement's silence on this issue speaks volumes. They claim to champion the sanctity of life, yet they turn a blind eye to the suffering of those who need our help the most.
This is not pro-life, it's pro-birth. It's about forcing life into existence without any regard for its quality or dignity.
America once prided itself on protecting its children. We enacted laws to abolish child labor, established public education, and created social safety nets to prevent families from falling through the cracks. We understood that investing in children was not just a moral imperative, but an investment in the future of our nation.
Today, that commitment is under attack. The very values that once defined us, compassion, empathy, and a sense of collective responsibility, are being eroded. We are witnessing a dangerous shift towards individualism, where profit trumps people, and the vulnerable are left to fend for themselves.
This is not the America we should aspire to be. We must reject this cruel and callous agenda and reclaim our moral compass. We must remember that a society is judged by how it treats its most vulnerable members.
We cannot afford to be silent. We must expose the hypocrisy, the cruelty, and the dangerous consequences of this agenda. We must challenge the narratives that dehumanize and exploit children.
We must demand better for our children, for our future, and for the soul of our nation. This is not a partisan issue, it's a human issue. It's about standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult.
It's about demanding accountability from our leaders and holding them to a higher standard. It's about fighting for a world where every child, regardless of their circumstances, is given the opportunity to thrive.
The time for complacency is over. The future of our children depends on our actions today. Let's choose compassion over cruelty, justice over greed, and love over hate. Let's build a world worthy of our children's dreams.
Section 8. The fight for bodily autonomy, a fundamental right under threat.
The assault on abortion rights is not just about controlling women's bodies. It's about controlling their lives. It's about denying them the fundamental right to make decisions about their own bodies, their families, and their futures. It's about relegating women to second-class citizens, stripped of their agency and their autonomy. This attack on reproductive rights is part of a larger, more insidious agenda to roll back decades of progress on social justice and equality. It's about maintaining a patriarchal power structure where women are subservient and their voices are silenced. It's about controlling women's lives from the bedroom to the boardroom. We cannot allow this to stand. We must fight for a world where women have the right to make their own choices, free from coercion, discrimination, and violence. We must fight for a world where every woman has the power to determine her own destiny.
Section 9. The erosion of childhood, trading innocence for labor.
Childhood should be a time of wonder, exploration, and learning. It should be a time for building friendships, developing passions, and discovering one's place in the world. But for far too many children, this precious time is being stolen away, replaced by the harsh realities of adult responsibilities.
The push to weaken child labor laws is a betrayal of our children's innocence. It's about prioritizing profit over their well-being, greed over their education, and exploitation over their future. It's about turning a blind eye to the long-term consequences of robbing children of their childhoods. We must resist this assault on childhood. We must fight for a world where children are free to be children, where they are nurtured, protected, and empowered to reach their full potential. We must remember that a society that fails its children is a society that has lost its way.
Section 10. A bleak future, the long-term consequences of inaction.
The consequences of inaction are dire. If we fail to challenge these harmful policies, we will be condemning generations of children to a bleak and uncertain future. We will be creating a society marked by inequality, injustice, and a profound lack of empathy. Imagine a future where access to education and opportunity is determined by the circumstances of one's birth. Imagine a future where countless children are trapped in a cycle of poverty and exploitation. Imagine a future where the American dream is nothing more than a distant memory. This is not a future we can accept. We must act now to change course. We must fight for a future where every child has the chance to thrive, regardless of their background or circumstances. We owe it to our children and to ourselves to create a more just and equitable world.
Section 11. Reclaiming our humanity, a plea for compassion and justice.
This fight is about more than just policies and laws. It's about reclaiming our humanity. It's about rediscovering our capacity for empathy, compassion, and a sense of shared responsibility for one another. It's about standing up for what's right, even when it's difficult, and demanding a better world for all. We must reject the narratives that divide us and dehumanize those who are different. We must embrace our shared humanity and recognize that we are all interconnected. We must understand that an injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. Let us move forward with courage, determination, and an unwavering commitment to creating a world where every child is valued, protected, and empowered to reach their full potential. Let us build a future worthy of their dreams and our hopes.